This is straight.
Welcome, everybody, and apologies for the technical difficulties. So, I'm Rita Bacuzzi. I'm also known as Mama Rita Money. And tonight on Breakthrough the Taboo Talk, we're going to be having a discussion of opportunities and schemes, because I think the discussion of talk is about words. And in life, our words are our world, right? What we speak into being can happen, and mostly because really the first person to hear it is us. However, there are things that happen in the world that can create shift and changes depending on how people are showing up. And so that's why I like to particularly share or talk about and bring guests on about how certain words can shift or change our lives or create an effect that might be not a desired outcome, and how can we shift it into making it a desired outcome. And tonight we're going to be talking about schemes and opportunities. These words can have both positive and negative connotations depending on where you are in the world and where you are in your own personal world. And I'm happy tonight, I'm going to start to share a little bit about the experiences that I've had around both these words and what perspective at the end of the day has come about that helps move me forward, accelerate me. So when I think about, when we think about the word schemes, I'm going to start with that one. And interestingly enough, in other countries, a scheme is just a plan, right? The scheme, the grand scheme of things, right? We're looking at this view, this plan for some desired outcome that we get to have and we get to share and participate in. And it's systematic, and it's just this where we're creating or arranging this particular way to have a desired outcome or desired goal. And that's really what a scheme is that grand scheme. But sometimes people, like, words can be really neutral, but people can make that change in the sense of when you take action, or if people take action on a scheme, it may be something like a Ponzi scheme, right? Well, most of us know what a Ponzi scheme is, and that is a pyramid scheme. This is a way for people to create a plan to negatively affect others but benefit themselves. And I kind of liken it to, whatever your positioning on guns are, but a gun was intended, or it should be intended, for hunting food. Some people may agree with that or may not, but there was a period, depending on where people live and if they have to live off the land, and there isn't the resources, and that is the resource to survive, to live, that is, they use that weapon, if you will, to create a resource for livelihood. And obviously, we can see in our day and age today how that could really change, how it could be used for bad. I talk about that with money, right? So money schemes. Well, really, we don't think of many schemes, some grand plan for us. It is more what negative event happened. And personally, I've experienced where I was part of a company that the owner had ulterior motives that even the staff was not aware of, and the FBI raided the company, and that person ended up in prison. And I'm going to tell you, having been in the middle of that, not knowing what was going on was confusing, intense, and created a distrust for me in people around money. And I think that that happens to a lot of us. There's a lot of things that can potentially happen, and if we are in a place where we are confused or we feel vulnerable, and someone's taking advantage of you or someone else, and you see that, it can skew what you're thinking about in the world as far as what a scheme can be, and how you can create grand plans for yourself. And then the other is opportunities. Opportunities always sound amazing and great. And in our world today, we can hear opportunities for everything. Sometimes in my personal experience, when I would hear about business opportunities, especially having had the prior experience that I just shared with you, I would be very skeptical. So even though you hear the word opportunity, which is openness and the possibility, I would feel things like, okay, what is the scheme? What is the plan? So it was always the other party's agenda, if you will. And it's all good when we know our place of where we get to anchor ourselves in position in awareness so that we get to protect ourselves, or we get to receive and be open and embrace possibility. And so for me, I think it's where you get to get curious and you get to explore things. And then if it makes sense and it feels right, and you're able to make sure that you get to take that step, you can take that step forward feeling pretty safe. I think that possibilities are endless. And I love that. And you get to shift, right? Because sometimes it really is just about that instinct and jumping in. And if an opportunity turns into something that, well, that's not exactly what you thought it was, you have a choice. You get to make decisions. You get to decide. So you always get to be anchored in your positions. And tonight I have our guest speaker, Bettina Carey, who's of We Empower You, right? And it's all about empowering people, which I love, and creating grand plans, right? And opportunities so that we can shift our lives so that really we can break through barriers. We can shatter these barriers, and we can propel our lives forward and really get to enjoy life. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Bettina in to share with us this evening. And thank you so much, Bettina, for being here. I so appreciate you taking the time and jumping in to, really talk a little bit more about maybe sharing some of your experiences around these taboo words that can sometimes hold us back. And I was sharing, as I was sharing with the audience about, having been part of a company, wanting to learn more about money, only to find out that the owner was doing things at such illegal levels that the FBI would came in and raided the Christmas party where there's all these employees, and we all had no clue as to what there was anything negative going on until that time. So we felt blindsided because obviously somebody had another agenda, and it can take you back, right? It can make you kind of like close up, not want to move forward. And when you hear these opportunities of, possible schemes or plans or opportunities, you tend to second guess them. And so I want to share a little bit more about that conversation and your personal take and experiences around that. So welcome this evening.
Thank you for having me. Excuse my tardiness here.
You're perfect. You're perfect.
As you mentioned, I'm hosting the We Empower You Global Virtual Summit tomorrow, and you're going to be a speaker. And yes. So there's a lot of last minute details going on here.
Yes, and that is okay. Life, so we can have our best laid plans. And I like to just say, one of the things, I used to get so nervous and so worried when my plans or when things kind of like, I'm going to say they felt like they went sideways, but in reality, I think it gives us all an opportunity to expand right where we're at. And so going forward, it's like, okay, I get to do plan B. What is plan B? I don't know. But you know what? I get to show up real, be authentic, and share what I know, and we get to move forward in life. And I think as an most people, like people who are business owners and opportunity, business owners and entrepreneurs is the word I wanted to use. We get to have this like where things shift and we get to flow with it, because the more that you resist, the more things persist, right? This is I don't know whose quote that is, but what what you resist persists in life. And I think that we get to really just look at the possibility and really look at the opportunity. And I love We Empower You, that again, so tomorrow we're opening up opportunities for people to be able to show up and step up, and perspective of, oh my gosh, what is possible? And we get to cue into seeing how different people are showing up and how the world is really changing. I know before I came into this arena from corporate to entrepreneur, I was very, I didn't get that there was this whole other world of business that people were doing already. What seems new to many to being online, that people were already here and already had plans and were giving opportunities. And sometimes we just, with opportunities, I'm going to say our sight is clouded until maybe the need for us is there, right, and shows up, and then we get to figure out how do we get to plug in. But I wanted to talk about, like, I was talking a little bit about how, each of these words, schemes and opportunities, they can both be totally positive, and they can totally be held in a negative context. And I'll say very specifically in the financial arena, when people were telling me you get to come to a business opportunity presentation, it didn't feel like that after 1, 2, and 3 of them, because it was all the same thing. It wasn't, I think when things go sideways on opportunities, is it's not aligned with where we're at, and we don't know what questions to ask. Like, what does opportunity mean to them, and how are they seeing it in us? That might have been a question I wish I could have known then to be able to ask, like, what is this opportunity? So, like, when we talk about shattering the glass ceiling and empowering people and having an opportunity to join us, that's what you get to do. You get to join us. You get to see what's possible for you. That's why there's so many wonderful, amazing speakers. I'm going to say I get to be one and show up, sharing what I love, because I really felt that I have an opportunity to show a revolutionary new way of how we get to think around money. That's my specific topic. But there are many topics tomorrow, and learning to create revenue and have it be sustaining are other discussions. What vehicles or ways people have been doing this. And there's so much. So when I think of opportunity, I like to think of possibility. So what is the possibility? Am I aligned with that possibility? And then move forward with, I'm going to say, the grand plan. Look at the grand scheme of things from a 50,000-foot view of what's possible. Mm-hmm. So I love the word scheme and opportunity, because for me, I now think of scheme as, like, what does that vision board look like? What is that plan with those possibilities, and how do I get them to really create something that's super amazing, versus what I used to think several years ago when I was in that event, and I end up, I lost my job, all these things happen. I was just glad, I'm going to say, even you feel like, oh my God, somebody did something wrong, you work for them, is something going to happen to me? So that negative scheme. So life can have both sides to things, and it's what we get to choose to create and what we get to move forward to create for people. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about
Yeah, I think underlying all opportunities is the question that's really an internal gut and check-in is it aligned with my purpose, my mission, my vision? And when you're always checking in against those, it makes the decision making a lot easier. And trusting your gut. I mean, a lot of times people will go back after they've stumbled into something that is nefarious, and they'll go, I had a sixth sense, I had an idea, there were some red flags. Inevitably, they already knew that something was nefarious, and they shouldn't step into that, but they ignored those gut intuitions. And so, when you're checking in with yourself and your soul, your purpose, and it's all in alignment, then, there's some boxes that you've checked off that allow you to kind of take those steps forward. The other way I look at opportunities and even schemes, because schemes can be very positive. I mean, think about the word schematic. It gives you an idea, a picture view of what it is that you're going to get yourself into. And so having a scheme presented or an opportunity presented, also you can measure against, is it was that the destiny that I was on? Was that the path that I was on? If it, because when opportunity, ends up meeting preparation, oftentimes, like really wonderful things happen. And if you're talking about cash flow, it can result in a lot of cash flow, right? Positive things can really occur. But if it's askew from your original, mission, vision, purpose in life, even if it does result, initially in some cash flow, it might end up taking you askew from your path. And, sometimes people find themselves working all too hard for the almighty dollar. And so part of the program that we have, that we empower you, which is based in a membership model, revenue model, is that we're teaching people how to not work hard, but to actually earn money through the promotion of others. So as Lee Romanoff, who's the founder and CEO of Income Activator, says, like she gets paid for telling people where to go. That little spin of telling people where to go. We all tell people where to go. So the idea that anybody would get paid for that, has been in play forever and ever in a day. Referral fees, affiliate fees, joint venture fees, getting paid for leads. These are not new schemes or opportunities, but if they're in alignment with where you're going, what your purpose is, especially if you want to explore making a global impact, or you want to, raise a certain amount of money for another venture, or maybe you want to just have a nice nest egg, then the scheme, the opportunity underneath membership affiliation is an opportunity that's completely legal, completely an opportunity for anybody who wants to step into it. And it just has to be in alignment with, what your purpose is. And what I love about what we're doing is that we can help anyone that is in alignment with us, right? So you don't ever have to run a business. You don't ever have to even want to own or run a business. You can use this affiliate marketing program to earn a decent living and, do it through the promotion of others as opposed to promoting yourself. Because oftentimes people don't like that. They don't, they're terrible at promoting themselves, but they're really good at promoting other people. So we like to say that, we can help those that have been fired, furloughed, laid off, or if they are looking to start or run a small business and they want to have an income source that's not dependent on their work effort.
Yes.
I just went to visit my mother, for example, and I was gone for just a few days. And when I came back, I opened up my mail and there was a check. And that check was, a nice chunk of change. And it came from one of my referral partners. And then just this week, I opened up a check and one of my members paid her dues, which are due this month. She paid them a little bit early. And there you go. I get that money every year that she remains a member, and I don't have to do the work for it. It's already there, and it's a recurring residual income. So look at opportunities as possibilities, like you're saying, Rita, and make sure that they're in alignment with your soul, your spirit, your calling, your purpose. And when you do that, then the sky is the limit, and the world is your oyster. It's as simple as that. But like you, I've also stepped into situations, especially way back when I was first an entrepreneur, and essentially got scammed, so to speak, and
Yeah.
or got kicked in the teeth, and learned the hard way. I'm a firm believer that I really don't like to have full-on contracts with people. I like to do the handshake, and your word is your bond, and that's my style. But I've found myself without a contract or without the right ducks in a row, and then got kicked in the teeth for it, and lost either money or had to pay money that wasn't my money to have to pay. And so you do have to be careful, and you have to check things out. You have to vet people out. In fact, we encourage our guests and affiliates to come and check us out. Every Wednesday we have a meeting. It starts at 3:00, except for the summit months, which is every quarter. Those we have the summit, and you can come and check us out at the summit. And then you can check in, look at your gut. What's it saying? Can you trust us, like us, know us? And if that is a green light, then just come into our world and we'll be able to help you out.
Yeah, I love how, I'm going to say, what's really cool is also it's a community. And when I find these communities that have a culture that really want to support and help one another, it's almost like it's a family type style, because we get to share, okay, well, what about, we actually talked about this probably 2-3 weeks ago, where what scams to watch out for, right? When you're receiving emails or phone calls, or, and everybody was sharing different experiences. And when you have people in one room that are national or global, you're hearing about different things that, when you know about them, then you can be protected from them, right? Like my husband got some sort of text from Amazon saying that he owed $3.99, and he's like, "Did you buy something?" He's texting me, "Did you buy something from?" I'm so glad he texted me, because if he would have just assumed that I would have spent the money and bought it and given the information, And the thing is, the one thing that I like to share with people is, the important thing is to ask and explore. To really just be curious. Because if you don't, then that's where I find that some friends have gotten themselves on the other side of it. Like, they call me after all worried about what they did. And I'm like, why didn't you call me first?
Checking in with others is really, really important, right? We're not the only authorities of our life. There are others that have seen schemes and scams and can say, that sounds a little bit like it's going in the wrong direction. In fact, I had something like that happen recently, where one of the owners that is a member, she was mentioning that she was buying a dog, and it was all online, and they were going to ship this dog in an airplane, and she was going to pick it up. And I immediately said, I think this is a scam. Sure enough, $1,000 later, it was a scam. And, she had to go through the painful process of falling in love with a dog in the image, and then having to realize that dog's never coming, because that dog doesn't even probably exist. Mm-hmm. And, it's just an image. And so, checking in with each other and following, like if I get a phone call and it looks like my own area code, sometimes it's actually not really from my area code, but I'll go in and I'll type it in to Google and search, and then all of a sudden you get the whole litany of what this number's associated with, and it's like, oh, shoo, I'm so glad I didn't jump into that phone call with anybody. And, we do have to be careful, but I'm not one to, even after having, bad things happen, I'm still never going to be one of those people that ends up, losing out on opportunities or developing a jaded attitude because of one person's wrongdoing, right? I always just judge things on their own face. And if I have doubts or questions, I always bring a colleague or colleagues in for their opinion. Mm-hmm. And, there were several of us in this case who said, yeah, it sounds a little fishy. And unfortunately, the money wasn't saved, but, it could have been worse. It could have been said another 1,000 and another 1,000, so there you can fall prey into any kind of scheme But in general, there are a lot of opportunities out there, and you should keep your eyes and ears peeled for those, because sometimes they only come around once. I mean, right now I'm talking to one of my business owners who's made a lot of money from cryptocurrency, and he's currently putting in quite a bit into XRP, and he's using a particular platform, which I don't remember in this moment, and he's doing really well. So I'm checking it out because I don't want to miss out. I mean, there are people that jumped in on cryptocurrency a long, long time ago. And he's jumped in so far that he's also accepting cryptocurrency for payment for his products and services. And so that's a step that I might consider doing, because I'm doing global memberships. And I've already been asked if people can actually pay with cryptocurrency. So maybe I'll do that.
Right.
It might help the system, because it's very expensive to do the wire transfer fees to get money to and from the United States. And so it's possible that might be a route. And, that might be another show. I'm not the expert, I'm the student, but I'm just saying that I've learned just enough to know that there's still an opportunity there that I'm interested in. And I'm not the expert. I'm going to lean on friends like this one who have a substantial of investment and have made quite a bit of money at it.
Yeah. Definitely checking things out and verifying and vetting them is really important. We don't go at this world alone. We get to do it together, which is super awesome, to be able to have these communities and just be able to get into like what is possible for us, and have a team that surrounds us that we can bounce things off of, so that we can make sure, because there's just as many as there are potential schemes, there are potential possibilities. And let's see, and I wanted to be able to share tonight, like, that with the possibilities, it comes responsibility to vet it, again, to make sure you're in alignment, to have people that are sharing with you that burden. I don't even want to call it burden, that process of discernment. And to be sure that, really, it's the best thing to do is to open up, to see possibilities, do it together, have a team, have a community, like We Empowered You. And before we end tonight, because it's already the end, is tomorrow we are having the We Empower You Summit, and there is a link here, but you can go to We Empower You Life, or www.weempoweryoulife.com, or you can go to my website, Financial Resetting, and click on Empower You and click Summit, and join us tomorrow. It's free. There's a free ticket on there for you and for all my guests. And I thank you, Bettina, for doing that. And I look forward to all of the amazing speakers. I can't even believe it's already here. Time just flies.
That's right. We'll see you at the summit. I can't wait to have you there and all of your viewers.
Super excited to be there. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you all. And when it comes to schemes and opportunities, let's look in the positive, to the grand scheme of what's possible in the world, with wonderful, amazing people that we can show up, that will help us to grow and flow financially. And with that, have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and we will see you at the summit tomorrow. Thank you, Bettina.
Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Bye for now.